MSNBC, the voice of America? MSNBC has established itself as a prominent voice in American media, often presenting content critical of former President Donald Trump. Several current and past shows have consistently featured segments and discussions that scrutinize Trump's policies, actions, and character. Below is an overview of these programs, including their hosts, notable guests, public perceptions, alignment with the broader American populace, viewership ratings, and host salaries. 1. The Rachel Maddow Show. Host, Rachel Maddow. Notable guests, David K. Johnston, journalist who obtained Trump's 2005 tax returns, Eric Holder, former U.S. Attorney General, Kamala Harris, U.S. Vice President. Content, focus. In-depth analysis of Trump's alleged connections with Russia, his administration's policies, and various controversies surrounding his tenure. Public perception. Maddow is lauded for her meticulous research and detailed storytelling. However, critics argue that her coverage is overtly partisan, potentially alienating conservative viewers. Voice of the American people? While Maddow resonates with a liberal audience, her perspectives may not reflect the views of conservative or moderate Americans. Ratings. Post the 2024 election, the show experienced a 43% decline in viewership, averaging 1.4 million viewers, with a 56% drop in the key 25 to 54 demographic. Host salary. Maddow's annual salary was reduced from $30 million to $25 million in late 2024. 2. The Readout. Host, Joy Reid. Notable guests, Elie Mystal, journalist and legal analyst, various political commentators and analysts. Content focus, critical discussions on Trump's policies, racial issues, and social justice topics. Public perception. Reid is praised for highlighting underrepresented issues, but has faced criticism for her strong partisan stance. Voice of the American people? The show appeals primarily to progressive viewers, potentially limiting its representation of the broader American demographic. Ratings. Specific ratings data is limited, but reports indicate challenges in maintaining viewership, leading to discussions about Reid's future at MSNBC. Host salary. Reid earns approximately $3 million annually. Update. MSNBC has canceled The Readout, the evening program hosted by Joy Reid, as part of a significant programming shakeup under the network's new president, Rebecca Cutler. The final episode aired on Monday, February 24, 2025. 3. Morning Joe. Hosts, Joe Scarborough and Mika Brzezinski. Notable guests, various political figures, analysts, and commentators. Content focus, political analysis with a focus on current events, including critical coverage of Trump's actions and policies. Public perception. The hosts have faced criticism for perceived shifts in their stance toward Trump, leading to questions about their consistency and credibility. Voice of the American people? The show aims for a centrist perspective, but has been perceived as fluctuating in its political stance, potentially confusing viewers about its alignment. Ratings. Following a meeting with Trump at Mar-a-Lago, the show experienced a 15% overall ratings decline and a 41% drop in the 25-54 demographic. Host salaries, Scarborough and Brzezinski reportedly earn salaries approaching that of Maddow, suggesting figures close to $25 million annually. 4. The Beat with Ari Melber. Host, Ari Melber. Notable guests, Sheriff Joe Arpaio, Eric Holder, Steve Bannon. Content focus, legal analysis of Trump's actions, investigations, and related political developments. Public perception. Melber is respected for his legal expertise and interviewing skills, though some viewers perceive a liberal bias. Voice of the American people? The show's legal focus appeals to viewers interested in judicial proceedings, which may not encompass the broader public's interests. Ratings. Although specific ratings data is limited, the show has maintained a steady viewership, often leading its time slot. Host salary. Specific salary information for Melber is not publicly disclosed. 5. Deadline, White House. Host, Nicole Wallace. Notable guests, political analysts, former government officials, journalists. Content focus, in-depth discussions on the Trump administration's policies and their implications. Public perception. Wallace is recognized for her critical stance on Trump, despite her past affiliation with the Republican Party. Voice of the American People? The show caters to viewers critical of Trump, which may not represent the entire political spectrum. Ratings. The show has experienced fluctuations in viewership, with some declines noted post-election. Host salary. Wallace reportedly earns at least $2 million per year. Critiques and rebuttals. MSNBC's programming has been critiqued for exhibiting a liberal bias, potentially alienating conservative viewers and contributing to political polarization. The network's consistent critical coverage of Trump may be perceived as lacking balance, leading some to question its claim of representing the voice of the American people. The American media landscape is notably diverse, encompassing a spectrum that ranges from centrist outlets to right-leaning platforms. Understanding the distinctions between these media orientations is essential, as they significantly influence public perception and discourse. Centrist media. Centrist media outlets strive for balanced reporting, aiming to present multiple perspectives on political and social issues. They often position themselves as neutral arbiters, emphasizing factual reporting over opinion-based content. However, this approach has faced criticism. For instance, a Vox article highlights that the centrist ideology often manifests as fiscally conservative but socially liberal, focusing on concerns like the national debt and the sustainability of Social Security. Despite their intent to provide unbiased information, centrist outlets may inadvertently perpetuate a status quo bias, potentially overlooking transformative perspectives or underrepresenting emerging political movements. Right-leaning media. Right-leaning media outlets, in contrast, often advocate for conservative values and policies. They provide a platform for right-of-center viewpoints, sometimes prioritizing opinion-driven content. A study by the Pew Research Center found that during specific periods, stories from outlets with a right-leaning audience were more likely to carry an overall positive evaluation of President Donald Trump's actions compared to those from left-leaning or centrist outlets. This approach can lead to a more favorable portrayal of conservative figures and policies, potentially at the expense of comprehensive critical analysis. Importance of these differences. The divergence between centrist and right-leaning media is significant for several reasons. 1. Public perception. Media outlets shape public opinion. The slant of a media source can influence how audiences perceive events, policies, and figures. 2. Political polarization. Consuming news from ideologically aligned sources can reinforce existing beliefs, contributing to societal divisions. 3. Informed citizenship. Exposure to a range of perspectives is crucial for a well-informed populace capable of critical thinking and nuanced understanding of complex issues. Examples and quotes. To illustrate these differences, consider the following examples. Centrist media. Example. Bill Maher, host of HBO's Real Time, distances himself from consistently negative coverage of President Trump. He states, "I don't pre-hate everything Trump does. I'm not that guy." This reflects a centrist approach, acknowledging both agreements and disagreements with Trump's actions. Right-leaning media. Example. Fox News host Brian Kilmeade, traditionally a Trump supporter, criticized Trump's stance on Ukraine, emphasizing Putin is the bad guy. This demonstrates that while right-leaning media often supports conservative figures, there is room for dissenting opinions within the broader ideological framework. Understanding these distinctions enables media consumers to critically evaluate the information presented, recognize potential biases, and seek a more comprehensive understanding of current events. Note: Brian Kilmeade, a neocon in conservative camouflage. Brian Kilmeade, co-host of Fox and Friends and a familiar face on Fox News, presents himself as a traditional conservative voice. However, beneath the surface lies a consistent pattern of neoconservative, establishment-driven positions that betray the populist, America First movement championed by the Republican base since 2016. Kilmeade's hawkish foreign policy views, allegiance to the military-industrial complex, and subtle undermining of non-interventionist figures like Donald Trump reveal him as a right-wing establishment clone, a wolf in sheep's clothing. Kilmeade has repeatedly defended U.S. involvement in endless wars, notably expressing concern over Trump's plans to withdraw troops from Syria. If you're going to withdraw from Syria, what message does that send to Iran and Russia? Fox and Friends, 2019. This mirrors the Bush-era neocon line of endless intervention, not principled conservatism rooted in defending America first. Moreover, Kilmeade has subtly questioned Trump's actions when they threatened the deep state's grip. After Trump criticized the intelligence community, Kilmeade stated, "You can't always be fighting everybody in your own government." This comment reflects establishment talking points, defending unelected bureaucrats over an elected president. Unlike true conservatives like Tucker Carlson, who challenge the globalist regime, Kilmeade toes the neocon party line. He supports NATO expansion, harsh sanctions, and regime change rhetoric, even praising Biden's Ukraine strategy, saying it sent the right message to Putin. That is not conservatism. It's globalist adventurism. In short, Kilmeade may speak the language of conservatism, but his policies and positions betray the movement's core principles. He is the smiling face of controlled opposition, cloaked in patriotism but loyal to the empire.